Hey everybody, how you doing? This is about to be a really fun video. So, last night's video we talked about, hey, I'm going elk hunting. I bought a cow elk tag and I've booked a hunt through an outfitter. And I'm really excited to be going. And last night's video was, I gave you 8 different bolt actions that I've done the due diligence, getting a good scope on it, long range scope with turret on it. And I've done the due diligence of ammo testing all of them and literally finding ammo, factory ammo in this case, for 8 different rifles that basically does half-inch groups or better. All 8 I am very confident in hunting with at reasonable elk hunting distances. We're not going elk hunting at 1,000 yards, but we're going to be doing some reasonable elk hunting. I'm very confident in all 8 of those. I'll pop them up here when I edit it. Those are 270 Winchester, a 6.5 PRC, 6.8 Western, 300 short mag. That's one you don't hear about a whole lot anymore. 7mm PRC, 264 Winchester Magnum, 338 Win Mag, and a 7mm Remington Magnum. A lot of people in the comments said, whoa, why not 300 Win Mag? Why not a 300? Well, I did put the 300 short mag on here, which I have hunted with before, and took some deer. But those videos didn't turn out as good as I wanted. So one of my goals is to do a big game hunt with every single cartridge out there and film it. Well, I've already got a 300 Win Mag black bear hunt up. That was this past spring. If you missed that video, definitely go check it out.
Good hit. Good hit. Hit him again.
I was in Alaska. We filmed that. Awesome video. That's actually, honestly, my favorite video I've ever done, that 300 Win Mag black bear. And I've also got a 300 Win Mag whitetail hunt where I take 2 whitetail does on film with 300 Win Mags. So I feel like I've already filmed 2 different 300 Win Mag hunting videos. So we got to mix it up. I got to have videos on everything hunting. So those are the 8 that I picked. A lot of you guys shared your comments with me, which is the whole purpose of the video. I want to hear what you guys want to think, or what you think about it, and hear your experience and your opinion on what you want me to film. Now here is tonight's video. I went and took the data of all those rifles, all that ammo that they're sighted in with, and I put them up head to head. We're gonna look at drop rate out to 1,000 yards. We're not hunting that far, but just for the sake of looking at the data. And then also the energy at every 100 yards out to 1,000 yards as well. Now, drop rate is kind of a moot point, I think. I think with today's modern scopes, you can get very good scopes with good turrets for very low money. I've proven that time and time again. Yeah, you can get good scopes for not a whole lot of money these days. So to me, drop rate is kind of a moot point. It's kind of irrelevant. It doesn't really matter because you can just dial it just the same. But it's still interesting to see. So that being said, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about drop rate really quick. This is in no particular order. Bright green, it drops the least. Red drops the most. And then yellows and orange shades in between. So drop rate in inches, I'm gonna pop this up on the screen. We're just gonna talk about it real quick. Everything's sighted in at 100. At 200 yards, all eight of those drop between 2 and 3 inches basically. So does elk pops up at 200 yards, which is a very reasonable assumption. We're probably not dialing anything. We're probably just holding maybe an inch or 2 high and squeezing the trigger. 300 yards, that's where you want to be a little more precise. 300 yards, could we hold? You know, what's the least drop? 8.6 inches or a foot with the worst drop. Yeah, we could, but 300 and beyond, I like to dial. I like to be precise and hold exactly where it is. But let's just stop at 300. What drops the least? Well, that would be the 7mm Remington Magnum 150 grainer. You might expect that. It's a lighter projectile going 30 feet per second. And all the way out to 1,000 yards. That particular 7mm Remington Magnum load, that's a Remington Core-Lokt tipped 150. It drops the least. So if I was looking for what drops the least, well, I might pick that 7 mag. That's my Socko S20. I can pretty near put them in the same hole with that factory loading. Now, what drops the most? Well, that's the one right above it in the bright red. At every distance, the 338 Win Mag drops the most. At 300 yards, it's dropping just a little over a foot. At 400 yards, it's dropping 29.5 inches. It looks bad because it's red in the picture, but at 400 yards, we could take a 400-yard shot. I would take a 400-yard shot on an elk with every single one of these. That being said, it looks bad because it's red, but just look at the 338 Win Mag line there, the red. It drops 29 inches at 400 yards. So everything else is still in the mid-20s. So that red makes it look bad, but the 338 Win Mag is still only dropping 2 or 3, 4 inches more at 400 yards. So most of these are very close. Did I put a... Did I chart a curve on here? Yeah, I did. Let me pop up the picture. So the curve on all these stays really tight, almost up to 600 yards. There's almost a negligible difference when it comes to drop rate. But you can pause this. The winner on drop rate is the 7 mag. Close behind it is that 6.5 PRC. Both of those are lighter and faster. But what really matters to me, especially when it comes to elk hunting, is the energy. Now, what has the most energy? Well, out to, looking at the chart, out to 300 yards, it's almost a tie between 338 Win Mag, the 7 PRC, and the 300 short mag. So these are things that I guarantee you couldn't just guess this stuff off the top of your head, but I really wanted to nerd out and deep dive on this real quick. A lot of people say, oh, people throw that number around. You need 1,500, foot-pounds of energy to take an elk. Well, every single one of these meets that to 400 yards, almost. That 264 Win Mag runs out of gas at about 400 yards. But what has the most energy? It's that 300 short mag, the 7 PRC, and the 338 Win Mag are good choices. You can see the greens of that 6.8 Western. Past 500 yards and beyond, that's where the 6.8 Western really shines in this comparison. Same thing with the 7 PRC. So if you're talking about long range hunting, which that's up to you to decide, is that ethical to be hunting past 500 yards? My opinion, for most people, probably not. 95% or more, probably not. Don't have any business taking shots past 500 yards. But past 500 yards, 7 PRC and that 6.8 Western really shine. But, man, inside 500 yards, pretty near every single one of these is a powerhouse round. I've got it in my head. When I travel for hunting, I almost always take 2 rifles now. I was on a long range trip taking a class a couple weeks back in another state, dropped my rifle and only 6 inches and the scope went boing, and it was just trash, which was unfortunate. But when I travel, I try to always take 2, and I think I know what I'm going with. And based on these numbers, I would be good with taking any of these. Couple conclusions. Don't sleep on the 300 short mag. is pretty awesome. Let me go back to the drop real quick. Just an interesting point. That 6.8 Western I said was a powerhouse with the energy, especially longer range when compared to other stuff. 6.8 Western 175 grain and the 300 short mag 180 grain, the drop rate is almost exact out to 1,000 yards, which is just interesting to see. But now I have all the data, the drop rates, and the energy. Let me know if any of this surprised you. Is your pick still the same? And if not, why? Also, comment down below, based on all these numbers, what do you think I should take chasing elk this coming hunting season, which is going to be here pretty soon. But hey, appreciate you watching. This is kind of a part 2 of yesterday's video, where we're zeroing in and nerding out on the data for these cartridges that I've put up for contemplation for taking my elk with. But hey, appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for more. Make sure you're subscribed. Stay tuned for this elk hunt. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be a really good video. Appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you on the next one. Hooty hoo.